son was killed by gunfire. He was brutally murdered, and that is not fair.
Recently, I saw a young person come to a funeral, walk down the aisle, look at the body, and on his way up, unwrap a hamburger and eat it.
We all know someone who's been killed. We all know a woman who is being beaten now. We all know kids who are being abused. We know them.
It feels as if we've not only accepted that children die on our land, but that this is part of the human condition that we are now used to.
One young girl was shot when she was just going out to get her mail.
Our kids are out there raising themselves in the streets. The people we throw away don't go away.
What happened in the community where if you were down the street and you were a little child and you were messing around, that neighbor called your mother. Those neighbors don't call anymore because they're afraid someone's going to pull out a gun and shoot them.
You hear bam, bam, bam. You're so scared. I'm laying on the floor. I don't want to move.
In my emergency department, on a busy 12-hour shift, we can see 8 or 10 people who've been shot. We see old people, we see young people, we see children. It's estimated that the health-related costs of firearm violence, specifically in the United States, are over $20 billion a year.
By the year 2003, firearm-related deaths will become the leading cause of death for most Americans.
Violence affects everyone, if it's not physically, emotionally, or financially.
We love violence. In fact, some have said that as a society, America has a substance abuse problem with violence.
Society portrays violence as being okay. The media shows us that, hey, if you have a gun, you got power. The video games our kids playing today, they'll sit there for hours killing people, beating people up, blowing things up. The music our kids listen to, the cartoons.
From their very first cartoon all the way through the latest superhero movie, we teach our children that violence is funny, is entertaining, is successful, is the hero's first choice, is painless, is guiltless. We do such a great job of repeating that message that they have these tremendous appetites for violence.
You know, think about this. What superhero negotiates? I don't think there are any. I mean, I can't even tell now whether Batman's a good guy or a bad guy.
Guns have moved from being a tool that was in a movie to being stars in and of their own right.
A lot of people are beginning to see violence as the octopus that it is, with a lot of tentacles, and that it's family abuse, dating violence, it's rape, it's child abuse. We have to begin to change attitudes and to try to raise hope that prevention is possible.
And it has a lot to do with our attitudes about violence, the way we promote and encourage violence, the way we celebrate violence, the way we teach violence to our kids.
And when you have your father or your brothers telling you, you know what, don't let nobody push you around, go out there and beat them up. You know what, you're a man, don't cry.
It's clear if I'm raised in a family where my father or my mother's boyfriend or someone who claims to love her is beating on her every night, that's teaching me as a young adult male, that's how you treat women.
We've institutionalized violence to where we can say it's a normal activity. And then once the investigation's over, the yellow tape is gone, promise still exists there, and we can no longer say it's acceptable.
The victims are younger and younger and younger, and the FBI tells us that the perpetrators are also younger and younger and younger. We have this epidemic of kids killing kids with rates that are sky high and going higher.
Our children are frightened. They're experiencing things that hardened war veterans have not had to experience. And they do all of this while negotiating that very difficult path from childhood to adolescence.
And this mother, a single parent, had two kids. She had 2 sons, aged 7 and 9. And she asked them to go to the store before school to purchase them. Running down the sidewalk towards the store. And there was a crossfire going on between 2 gangs over this crack house. And thinking that the bullets and the gunfire was on another street, they got caught in the middle of it. And the 7-year-old was shot 1 time in the side, and the 9-year-old was shot 4 times in the head. And to save his brother, the 9-year-old fell over top of him. And when one of the reporters, when he got close to the scene, what he showed on TV was the 7-year-old had rolled his brother over, and he had put 4 fingers in the holes in his brother's head, and he was holding him like this. And people were traumatized and shocked, and people were crying, not knowing what to do. Mother came running down the sidewalk yelling, oh no, not my son, not my son. They grabbed him and pulled her back, and they said, no, you can't. She said, no, not my son, let me go. And at that time, one of the reporters started crying or something. He couldn't handle it. He put his camera down, and it was right in front of this 7-year-old lad's face. And then this one man came from nowhere, and he weaved his way through the crowd, and he grabbed the 7-year-old's hand and tried to pull it out. He said, turn my hand loose. Don't touch my hand. Turn me loose. And he said, come on, son. He says, nothing you can do for your brother. He's dead. He said, no, sir, don't touch me. Leave me alone. And then he saw that the 7-year-old had been shot, too. And he wiped some of the blood off the 7-year-old, and he showed it to him. He said, look, son, you need help. You need emergency help. You're going to die. He said, no, sir, I can't leave my brother. So the man, he didn't know what to do. He felt helpless, and people felt helpless. And the 7-year-old was just crying, and tears were coming down his face and all. And he looked up, and he said to the crowd, he said, I need my brother. He said, all I want to do is go to the store with my brother. And every time I share this, I always say that I'm not going to be touched by it. And the point is, why must a kid lose his life for a community to come together to do the right thing?
One of the most compelling problems is that each of us is overwhelmed by the volume of violence we're seeing, and we're at a loss to explain why. How did things get this bad?
We also have to understand that our law enforcement resources are some of our most scarce resources in our whole society. They're very, very, very expensive. And so you can't just take that approach and figure that that's going to solve your problem.
We were even identifying what I consider to be the unknown leaders. And these are people who do things every day that probably would never have been termed as a violence prevention strategy. For instance, the woman who may take care of kids so that other women can go to work, or the church that opens its basement at night so that kids can do their homework. These are all valid violence prevention strategies. They're all in that realm, and they're all the things that will move us forward. So we're trying to find a way to bring all of this together.
There is a role for everybody. That's what it takes. If it takes a village to raise a child, then in our homes it takes a village to raise a safe community. Where is our village?
All right, it's a Power Station 106, LA's hottest jazz. Morales. Manuel Velasquez is here tonight. We're talking about the Peace Conference, the Violence Prevention Coalition Peace Conference that is going on here. A call to action, creating peace here within Los Angeles and pretty much around the community.
What I've found out, the bottom line is communication is the one thing that totally gets everybody on the same line. I mean, when you start talking, then you're going to accomplish more.
I strongly urge the parents of all the youth to get involved, because it's both our responsibility, mothers and fathers alike.
Why is it more difficult